Well, welcome to a new Harry's Farm video, and this video is going to be about the Ineos Grenadier Quartermaster, because I'm revisiting the Grenadier after getting one in. I checked back, it was May 2023 when I had one in, and I reviewed the car, and I didn't give it a particularly rosy review, and Grenadier got in touch and I've had several meetings with them. It's been very interesting actually getting to know more about the company, and for this harvest Grenadier very kindly lent me this Quartermaster, and we've been using it for about 3-4 weeks around the farm as a farm vehicle, and I've learned quite a lot. But is it going to be as good as I want it to be? Well, we'll go into detail as we do the review. But first place I'm heading is my field where I had issues with it off-road and trying to clamber up, because I want to discuss how it all works. And I was fiddling around the diff locks and I couldn't get the diff locks to go in, and I thought, oh, how's this work? I now know why. And the thing about this car, it is tough off-road vehicle. Old school though, chassis underneath, because that's how Jim Radcliffe wanted it. So I'm going to go back and just show what to do. I need to get the diff locks to work to put it in low range first. So first thing I do, I put it into neutral, and I have to slide this transfer gearbox lever, and it's not going to go in. Sometimes you have to do this, just let it rock. There we are. We are now in, and then slide it across, and I can see on the dash I have a locked center diff, which is good, and I'm in low range. I'm going to move the lever over to the left, and then I can just nudge it forwards, and I'm in first low gear. And one thing I've learned about this Grenadier, it's a really low first gear, as you can tell, proper crawler gear, which is useful at times. And this field is extremely steep, and I wouldn't normally attempt what I'm about to attempt, but having got to know this car, I think it's worth a go, and that's to see if I can get up the hardest bit on this hill from a standing start. Now, to show you how steep this hill is, I've got roll on here, and I'm at 17 degrees, 19 degrees. I'm now going to reverse up. This is the killer hill on my farm, and I'm going to put a diff lock in, and I'm going to put a rear diff lock in, which is flashing, and now it's solid. First gear. So I'm now in first gear at the hill I couldn't get up before. What happens this time? We go up the hill from a standing start with no issues. And it's because I now understand. It was operator error before, the reason it didn't do that. But I find that pretty impressive. And it's just getting to know this car. To get the diff locks to work on a Grenadier, you actually have to be in low range first. Didn't know that. And you have to engage the rear, well, you have to have centre diff lock on, then you put the rear diff on, lock on, and then you put the front diff lock on if you're really challenged. But that's mighty challenging, and I don't need the front diff. I don't use it, because then you've got issues because you haven't really got much steering and things. So there you go. Grenadier can go up my testing bit of hill. What I'm going to do now, head down to another field and talk you around the car. Bit of a struggle getting out, but I just wanted to show you the workings of this car and its natural environment, which is off-road. So yeah, Quartermaster. What's the difference with this over the regular Grenadier? Well, it's actually just over 300mm longer. So we've got this space at the back, which we'll have a look at the moment. But I just wanted to show you what this car is all about, is basically the fact it's got this chassis. And this one is quite fun because it's got a red chassis on it, because that is an option. And it's to support a charity, a minefield charity, Hero. contrast ladder frame Halo Red, £970. Ineos give €150 to the charity if you go for that option. There is also a Rhino charity and you get a grey chassis. I have to say, from aesthetics, I really like the red. Just when you look around this car, it's just the sheer bulk and size and toughness. If you come down here, look at this steering arm here. It's absolutely huge. It's the size of my one on the tractor. Everything is there not to break. Live axle, obviously, across the front. And now, spring rates on this was a surprise. When I was talking to the engineers, you'd think there'd just be fixed springs, IBAS springs, front and rear. They're not. There are 4 options of springs at the front and 6 options at the rear. And it depends how you spec your Grenadier to which ones you get. You don't know as a customer, but if you have, say, a front winch fitted, then you get a slightly heavier spring on the front. If you go for tow pack, I think if you have the off-road tires as well, you get a different spring rate at the rear, a slightly firmer one, and also with the Quartermaster, because it's carrying that load at the back, you also get a higher spring rate. Other things on this car, well, black contrast roof, magic mushroom is the colour on this one. The 18-inch wheels on it, and normally you get a steel wheel, but these 18-inch are £1,690, but they just look pretty good. Tyres are excellent, so these are an option. You'd have a road going, more road biased tyre, or the BF Goodrich. These are amazing off-road, I have to say. Side runners here, they're £958. Never been a fan of them, although because this is on fixed springs, it actually works quite well on this and obviously protects it as well when you're mucking about and it's a bit rocky around the place. Come around the front. The whole idea of this, the ethos behind it, is simplicity, and all the sort of panels just bolt off, and this is sort of in sections should you want the winch on it. You get the driving lights as well on this one. This one is a Field Master. Now this is sort of confusing, this Field Master and Trial Master, because Field to me from the sound means it's the off-road biased one, but actually it's the Trial Master which is the more off-road biased one. So Field Master does not get this sort of snorkel here, so that is an option on the Field Master on this car, and that comes with this off-road pack, rough pack, differential locks, Goodrich tyres, pickup liner, and it's not actually for wading. That one is actually just so if you're in dusty conditions, it's sucking air from the cleanest area rather than right down by the wheels themselves. Right, let's go and have a look around the back. Obviously this has got tow bar fitted. There is a jaw option tow bar as well as this one, just the regular bulb, and then this tailgate, this huge tailgate. It's hard to tell here, but this is really quite high, and you have to be Jim Ratcliffe size to sort of use it as a seat. We have been using it as a seat. I quite like the cup holders on it as well. It's all lined, spare wheel mounted there, and this space the other side, which we have found hugely useful because it means there's a well there, so like with leaf blower when we're taking that over the combine or the grease gun, they all stay in that position. Now, I want to talk about the capacity and what you can carry in this car, because to be a true commercial in the UK it needs to be able to carry 1,000 kilos in the back, but because this is built like a chieftain tank, we did weigh it, it's 2,740 kilos I think it went on the scales, and that limits its payload. And the official payload of this is 835 kilos, because you can only drive up to a maximum of 3.5 tons on this class of car on a normal driving licence. So it's nothing to do with its capacity to carry the weight, it's the licence laws in the UK, and it just means it doesn't class as a full commercial. It's an N1 light goods vehicle, but it's not a true commercial and you can't get your VAT back on it, which is a right pain. But Grenadier have introduced recently a proper commercial vehicle station wagon one. You can get your VAT back, I think it's about 53,000 plus VAT. Now this one is fully dressed, press car, we'll get inside as well, there's leather interior in there and that sort of things. And the price of this car, well, it starts on the road, £73,730, options and accessories, £10,298, as tested, £84,000. Crazy, but it's a press car, it's fully loaded, and that's what it comes out at. if you're wondering what all these are sort of accessories. You go through the catalogues, all sorts of things you can get that they basically mount on these runners. They're quite clever. And then up here, there's sort of power outlets, not fitted to this one, but if you want lights along the front or something, it's crazy the amount of stuff you can get on this car. I should also say this is the petrol version of this BMW engine. There's a choice of diesel or petrol, straight six, 286 horsepower in this petrol version. Better torque on the diesel version, more suited, I suppose, to UK farm work, but very good engine. The tuner boys, if I talk to Litchfield, they really like this engine. It's as tough as they come, and then there's an 8-speed ZF gearbox. So that's a quick look around the car. I'll just take it a bit on road, see how it performs there. It's a silly place to park really here. Oh, I should mention there's this, where your left foot goes in the footwell is a bit of a pain. Right, I'm going to start up and I'm going to actually say, what's it saying, all sorts of things. I'm going to press my favourite button, off-road mode, press it once, flashes, press it again, and that is the best button in the whole fascia, because what that does is an off-road button, so the parking sensors don't go off, you don't have to have your safety belt on, the ESC is relaxed, whole load of sensible things for farming. It's the best button going because you can suddenly use this car as you want to. It's so handy just when you're going off to the combine, off to the grain store or whatever, just have it on that button and off you go. And it only goes back to normal mode and starts bleeping because you haven't got your safety belt on and things if you go over 44 miles an hour. You know, I mentioned the low range. What, you know, we're doing 14, 50, I'm coming up to 20 miles an hour and I'm in fifth. Oh, it's in the sixth gear. That's how low range it is. And the other thing I want to comment on is its ride across rough ground like this is excellent. Probably the massive bit. There's a bump here where I get airborne on the motorbike, and here it comes, swallows it. Really impressive. I'll tell you what I'm going to do, is I don't want to be in low range all the way when we go out on the road, so I'm going to go over across there. I have to get into neutral there and just, yeah, it's quite physical, that change. It's definitely controlling the gearbox with rods and things. It is not electronic in any way. One final part I meant to mention when I was outside, there are 6 nuts holding each wheel on. Not 4 normal, 5 some cars, 6 on a Grenadier. That tells me it's super strength. Silly little detail. Anyway, I'm going to head out of here, go take it on road and discuss how it behaves there. It's interesting sort of voice this BMW straight six has got. It's not a creamy smooth 6-cylinder, it's quite smooth, but there is a slight gruffness to its voice, which I quite like. It feels right for the Grenadier. It's a good sound. And yeah, just to go through the layout again, so anything up there is sort of off-roady stuff and auxiliary lights, interior lights. This is sort of your ventilation and, you know, what else have we got? Window demist, climate control, and obviously radio control in this. Works well. You've got this blank screen ahead of you, which is just the warning lights, and there's generally absolutely nothing displayed unless you've got it in off-road mode or you're playing around with the diff locks. Then it will tell you what's going on there. The steering wheel, nice leather covered, and cruise on this side, volume, etc. And then the toot horn, the Jim Radcliffe polite horn for if you're approaching cyclists or something like that, rather than the full-on horn, wherever that is. There, that one, which is a lot louder. Compass here as well, which amuses my grandson no end. Well, the whole car does. He just loves it, all the buttons and things. And then I've got it in off-road on the options on here. Gives me various screens, so that's what I was using in the field. What do we get? Yeah, we had tyre temperatures, that sort of thing there. Pathfinder, which is sort of off-road navigation. got statistics, my exact location, latitude, longitude, and a log of what MPG I'm doing, which is a disaster because I've just been mucking about with it. And then charging, it's charging 8 amps voltage and battery temperature, which I suppose is useful if you're using all its auxiliaries. So yeah, all sorts of options. I do like the layout here. It makes perfect sense and it's quite easy to find your way around. And then it's got lane departure, and it's got obviously the speed warning if you're going over the speed limit. I've got it set on favourites, so I can press that and cancel that out should I want to. There we go. So I press yes, I want to cancel that. Are you sure? Yes, I am. So that's that done. The only rattle in this car is actually coming from my camera. There's no other rattles in this car at all. Then above me I've got these skylights, which are quite nice. They're quite a nice view out. One word of warning though, this vehicle is over 2 meters high and goes even higher if you have that roof open. And I just tried to drive in our carport and suddenly realised it wouldn't go under because I had the roof open, because it does take it beyond most multi-storey car parks and things. Not that you'd probably take a Quartermaster into a multi-storey car park. And here we go, it's just the slow rack again. 4 turns lock to lock, and that lack of self-centering, so I have to put it back in lane. BMW engine has no issues putting this car along. It's only got a top speed of 100 miles an hour, which is perfectly adequate. Something to note actually, if you're N1 commercial light goods, you're speed limited to 50 on normal roads where you might be doing 60 in a car, and dual carriageways you do 60, but you can do 70 on the motorway. But the plus side, you get much cheaper road tax. So, likes and dislikes then with the Grenadier. Well, you can just feel one of the dislikes. It's got live axles and it's all a bit at sea on a bit of tarmac like this. That's why it's sort of hopping, this great big mass jumping up and down underneath this car. And because it's got tow pack and the off-road tires, it's accentuated. I did do some towing with this car. It was very good at towing. It had no issue putting 3 and a bit tons, and it, apart from doing about 14 mpg, but that's not surprising for a petrol engine. You'd always buy the diesel, I would have thought, as on farm. But it is compromised on road because of the behaviour of the live axle. There's no getting away from it. It's in its DNA. It's never going to ride like a modern car with normal wishbones and a utilitarian sort of build rather than a separate chassis as this car's got. 2, you can't help but mention the price. That is pretty damn chunky, but I can absolutely see why it costs what it does. It is built to last. I was going to say something, put that a different way, but you get my meaning. It is incredible how it's been built, and the thought of it, and the chassis engineering on it, and the amount of mass you get for your money. I can absolutely see where the weight is in it. But, you know, 84,000 is a lot. The commercial at 53 is still quite a lot, but cars are more expensive. You know, a Toyota Hilux is probably 40,000 plus VAT, somewhere around there. So it's a 15,000 pound premium over something like a Hilux. Another dislike, the seats are good, Recaro seats, but I do find it annoying that my left foot has to be higher. This is only a right-hand drive issue. Left-hand drive, no issue at all. It's just a compromise on the right-hand drive. It's where the catalyst comes off the engine and it goes just under where your left foot is, and that means your foot is slightly raised the other. I end up with the seat slightly further back as a result of that. And then the slow steering, it's still there, same. So I've got the same issues I had with it before, the lack of self-centering. I got the hint from the engineers they were looking at it, so I think there might be a solution coming on it, but I have no other knowledge on that one. The likes, well, what it just exists, and it's a breath of fresh air that this is absolutely built to purpose. Having to get to know the Ineos better and Jim Radcliffe and what he gets up to. He is a proper bona fide adventurous tough man. He's action man. He might be just in his early 70s, doesn't slow down. He goes off on proper adventures. You go off to Iceland, remote areas. He's been to Mongolia in his blower Bentleys, and the support vehicles are the Grenadiers. He absolutely designed this car for his lifestyle of being in the middle of nowhere. He wants a tough, no-nonsense vehicle that's going to be the support and easy to fix. So I sort of understand the ethos better about Grenadier. It is not a rival to a new generation Defender or something like that. That's a completely different vehicle. This has this robustness about it. I do admire that about this car, but I think it could be better. And it's more niche than I realised, and you have to have a genuine off-road usage for it to make any sense of it. If you only drive this in town, well, you can do it on the looks and the personalisation. It's almost like a Harley Davidson. You can dress up to make your car look as you want, as tough as you want. And I think that's the direction they're sort of going in. There's a bespoke division now within Ineos Automotive Department, and I think that'll do really well. Think of urban Defender and that side of things, Bowler. I want to see it competing. I want to see it entered into Dakar. I want to see how tough it is. It's hard to prove its toughness when it's only 1 or 2 years old. I want to know what it's like in 20, 30 years. I have no doubt this car will be drive the same. I want to see it beaten up. I wish it was at a lower price point so you could see that, like you'd see on hill farms, those Defenders that go on and on. Once they get their hands on second-hand ones, I think they will love this car. And then I just want some beaten up panels, scratched, etc. All the panels are sort of squared off. I don't want to see it ever washed. So that's what the Grenadier is like. It's a very utilitarian type of car. One man's vision to build the toughest car being produced today. Yes, it's got 1 or 2 compromises, but it's definitely a characterful car, and I love it for that. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed this slightly different Harry's Farm video. If you did, well, keep watching, keep subscribing. More videos coming on very soon. There it is. That's not shabby, how that moves away there.